I am Tom Simplot, and I am President and CEO. I run the Arizona Multihousing Association. And usually the first two things people ask in this order: what's multi-housing? What does that mean? Well, we made it up. There is no word in the dictionary of multi-housing, at least not the way we spell it. And so for our purposes, we're talking about apartments. We are the apartment association. So here in Arizona, we represent 70% of the apartment industry, of the apartment communities, 50 units and above. And so that's the first component. We don't represent, our members are not condominiums or condominium owners, just apartments. Those who build, those who manage apartments, and those who service the industry. Now, the other question people ask is, what's an association? And you would be amazed how many people don't know that. So I always like to touch upon that too. So we are a membership association, and I have a favorite book of mine. It's called The End of Membership as We Know It. And in this book, it talks about how organizations like mine will be extinct in 50 years. Extinct. Because we're no longer serving a purpose unless we evolve with culture in the communities. And I'm talking about organizations like the Kiwanis, Rotary, the Eagles, you name it. Any of those service organizations, at their very core, are membership associations. And that's exactly what we are. Now, we're the 5th largest trade association in Arizona. But at the end of the day, we are a membership association. So in this book, The End of Membership Associations as We Know It, the author talks about primarily 6 things that will keep me from going extinct, except for the fact that I'll probably not be here in 50 years. And for me, there are 3 top takeaways. First off, if we're going to thrive in the near future, we have to first identify what are the wants and needs of our members. What are the wants and needs of our members? Number 2, identify how to solve those wants and needs. How do we respond to those wants and needs? And 3, and this is very important, what's the cost associated with responding to those wants and needs of our membership and then getting rid of all of the rest? And then when you're done with this process, start over and do it all over again. So over the past 9 years that I've been running the Arizona Multi-Housing Association, that's what we have done over and over again. So let's talk about the AMA. We have 2,000 members statewide. We have over 245,000 apartment units in membership. That's a lot. We cover the entire state. We are also the 6th largest apartment association in the country. And when you think about that, there are a lot of apartment associations in the country because we're all an affiliate of the National Apartment Association. So here in Arizona, and I'm going to find my clicker here. Here in Arizona, whoops, I did it. No, I did exactly what you told me not to do. There we go. That one, okay. There we go. So to put this into perspective, and I know there are probably some people here from outside of the Phoenix, outside of Maricopa County, but let's put it into perspective just for us since we're here in Maricopa County. So here we have Phoenix population 4.5 million. We have population growth of 1.9%. That's what it was last year. We have an unemployment rate of 4.1%, just here in Maricopa County. In 2016, we opened 8,000 new apartment units. Oops, sorry, we're going to go to the next slide. But right now we have over 290,000, almost 300,000 apartment units here in Maricopa County. In 2016, and we have over 700,000 residents. Now, in 2016, we opened 8,000 new apartment units, and coming up over the next 18 months, we're going to open another 10,000 units. That's how many apartment units are in planning stages. So let's talk about what that means. So here we are, a membership association, and we have to evolve to meet our members' needs. We have a growing population, 4.6 million people, over 700,000 are in apartments. We need to continually think of ways we're going to keep people coming to our apartments. And we want happy residents to be in our apartments. So that's why, several years ago, we partnered with the Department of Health in Maricopa County for smoke-free living. So now let's talk a little bit about why. Hopefully you can see this. This is advertising from the tobacco industry for the past 100 years. What have they told us for the past 100 years, spending hundreds of millions of dollars, that if you smoke, look back here in the 20s, you're beautiful, you're thin, you're athletic, you're courageous, you're believable. Look at Lucille Ball and Ronald Reagan. Did you see them up there? Or how about down below, you're healthy. Did you see the football player? Can you imagine running 100 yards and then sitting on the sidelines and having a quick cigarette? This is what we've been up against. And then, of course, when it went into the late 60s and the 70s, you're sexy, you're cool, you're hot, you're rugged. This is what we've been up against all these years. And so here we have been the last 30 years, in particular Dr. Fairbanks the last 30 years, fighting this battle. We haven't had their resources. Here in Arizona, they spend over $100 million a year still, the tobacco industry does, on advertising, just here in Arizona. So how do we compete with that? Well, another favorite book of mine is Get Big Things Done, or The Power of Connective Intelligence. It's really an awesome book. For those of you who've been involved with the United Way, Valley of the Sun United Way, you may have heard of this in another way, collective impact. Very similar concepts. And basically, connective intelligence boils down to the ability to combine the world's diversity of people, networks, disciplines, and resources, forging connections that create value, meaning, and breakthrough results. Or in another way, take a dream, add connections to all of our different communities, individuals, and groups and businesses, dream bigger, and then achieve a big thing. It's that simple, or at least it should be. But that's actually what we've done here in Arizona. So 3 years ago, there were no partnerships anywhere in the country between smoke-free living and the apartment industry. Seems kind of basic. We were the first. Arizona Multihousing Association in the apartment industry, DHS, Maricopa County, American Lung Association, we forged a partnership. Why? Because of this connective, collective impact sort of issue. There were so many good things going on over here, but not being shared over here. So if you think about our members, well, let's think about what we do in any given year. So we have 2,000 members, almost 250,000 apartment units across the state. We have trade shows. We have trade shows in Phoenix, trade shows in Tucson. We have golf outings in both cities. We have educational classes. We have real estate education classes. We have dinner meetings. We have breakfast meetings. We have more meetings than you can possibly dream of. Every year, we even have an industry award show where 1,500 people show up, where we give out awards, the best of the industry. And in all of my time before 3 years ago, nobody ever talked about smoke-free. What we did know was that many, if not most, of the members of our industry thought, they truly believed, well, two things. If I want to go smoke-free, the barriers are too high. The cost barriers are too high. It's cheaper for them to turn an apartment after a smoker than it would be to simply say no smoking in my community. It's not true, but that was the barrier. Now, why was it a barrier? Because what we discovered is that, especially if you're a small owner, you thought the legal cost would be too high. How do you take somebody in an existing apartment community who has a lease that doesn't say anything about smoking and then convert that apartment unit to a non-smoking unit? Now times that by 300 units. How do you do that? So over the past 3 years, in this partnership, we have actually created all of the legal forms, all of the process to bring an existing apartment community to non-smoking status. Have we achieved? No, but I'll tell you this. We have surveyed over 30 management companies. And by the way, these are the largest property management companies in Arizona. We have now surveyed to see where they are on the spectrum of going smoke-free. And this is what we know. Some are there. Some were early adapters, and they bought off early, and they said, yes, this is what we've been waiting for, we like it, we're going to take your forms, your legal information, we're going to take that, we're going to use it, we're going to apply it, and we're going to convert to smoke-free. Fantastic. We have others in the middle who said, I'm not sure if we're ready to go there. How about if we start off small? Let's start off small and maybe go silver, and we'll have some of our buildings go smoke-free, but those in the core, or excuse me, those on the outside, we will have smoking. Those in the core will go smoke-free. We want to reward that too. Now, if you're a purist, you're thinking, no, you need to go smoke-free, and that's the end of the story. The reason we have partnered is because we like to say we speak apartments, and we know what they go through. For example, when you think about it, we're the only industry in the country that has fair housing issues to deal with. That will always be, first and foremost, one of the very first things that anybody who owns or manages an apartment will say. Are there fair housing issues? And if they are, and if they haven't been identified, identify them and tell me how much it's going to cost for me to be able to get through that. I will tell you that we have example after example of residents who have said, you've taken away my smoking right, then I am filing a fair housing violation complaint. Now the owner or the management company has to hire attorneys and defend that. I noticed Dr. Fairbanks is giving one of our attorney members an award, Denise Holliday. She has been a part of our smoke-free effort for the past 2 years and has helped us develop these legal forms to help reduce the barriers and get our owners through that. So it's fantastic, and I'm really so glad, Dr. Fairbanks, that you're giving her that award. She deserves it. Now let's talk about the other part of the industry, the 8,000 new units built last year, opened last year, the 10,000 coming up in another 18 months. Are they all smoke-free? No, they're not. Because we have another barrier, and I think it's a perceived barrier, and the barrier is they're afraid they are going to lose market share. They don't want to alienate smokers who come to their property. This is my favorite worst example. Brand new property, it is beautiful. It is gorgeous, it is hip, it's cool, it's everything you want, rooftop, patio, pool. So we were going to have a membership event there, and I walked in and talked to the property manager, and I said, so are you smoke-free? I thought, oh, they're a brand new property. Who wouldn't be smoke-free as a brand new property? Why would you want all the gunk inside, right? Your air vents and everything else. And they said, yes, they are smoke-free. The only place you can smoke is on your patio or outside in the public spaces. So, let's go back. The partnership with DHS, Maricopa County, it's all about education, right? We have to educate the developers, the owners, and the management companies. And it has to happen simultaneously and consistently and continuously at all times, or we're not going to succeed. And that's what we've discovered. So, we've surveyed 30 companies, the largest companies in Arizona. We know many of them are on the path to going smoke-free. But we have to have more. So what have we been doing these past few years? First, we've been using the data that you all have been a part of creating and making sure that our members receive that data so they know what the benefits are of going smoke-free. But that's really not enough. You know, it boils down to what's in it for me, truly. And sadly, sometimes that's just simply the truth. So what's in it for an apartment owner? Keeping in mind that a lot of our management companies don't own their own apartments. They're owned by large REITs coming out of New York City, back east. They own hundreds, or if not thousands of apartments across the country. So what do we do to demonstrate to them that they have incentive to go smoke-free? For starters, just this past year, we are the first state in the country to have an insurance, a property casualty insurance discount for going smoke-free. 7% off the top. Clap for that. That's fantastic. So we have now a 7% discount right off the top of your property casualty insurance. If you're a management company, what are you going back to your owner and saying? Hey, if you let me go smoke-free, we're already going to save 10% or 7% off our insurance costs. But we also knew not everybody was there. So we also have a second tier. Even if you're silver, even if you have some buildings that still allow smoking, we'll even give you a 3.5% discount. Because we know once you see the benefits, we're going to get you there. Secondly, You've probably read in the paper, a lot of apartment communities get built and then they get sold. Why is that? That's just simply the way, that's the way the industry works. You have investors that come in, they take the risk, they build the 300-unit apartment community, they sell it to another group of investors. A lot of times it's the same management company that takes it through the first 5 years, so there's continuity. Very, very often that's what happens. But think about when they go in to appraise those apartments. You know what they're looking at? They're looking at what you're getting per unit for rent. So here, for example, in Phoenix, some of our highest rents are now going for, believe it or not, $2.20 to $2.50 per square foot. And some of those properties are still allowing smoking. So what if you were a non-smoking community and your appraisal value went up? Wouldn't that be an added benefit? That's our next step. That's our next step. Building that into the culture of appraisals. And I know that may be a little bit in the weeds, but this is how we get the owners. This is how we get the management companies. And this is why the partnership we have here in Arizona works so well. And just to put a period on all of this, we were the first in the country to have this partnership. After us came Florida, and after Florida came Los Angeles. We have set the stage, and we are leading the country in how we can successfully move the ball forward and eliminate smoking where people live their lives. So thank you for allowing me to come in today and share some of this with you. Thank you for the partnership that we have with you. We love it. We are in it for the long haul, and we can't wait to continue to find new ways to touch owners and management companies to figure out how we can convince them to go smoke-free. And with that, I think we have a couple of minutes. I'm happy to take any questions if you would like to ask anything at all. And I noticed a lot of lasagna on the plates. I'm really sorry if you're asleep at this point. No questions? Oh, no. Thank you all for letting me be here. Have a great afternoon.